The Los Angeles area LightWave users group received a sneak peek at the features of LightWave 9.2 at a recent meeting. We spoke with LightWave artist Dave Jerrard and Jennifer Hachigian, who shared their thoughts on some of the recent developments.
LightWave 9, I really like what they're doing with the node editor. It's just adding all kinds of new ways of doing surfacing, which make a lot of the complicated stuff a lot easier. Like glass is a lot easier to do with just a couple nodes rather than a whole bunch of different texture layers.
One thing is the addition of relativity, that it comes now standard with the package, because that helped me a lot when setting up a spider rig for a client, because I could automate as much as possible and offload as much of the work onto the computer as possible, and the client was able to crank out faster, better looking shots as a result.
I think my favorite part of 9.2 would be just the rendering enhancements. Followed quickly by the new features in the node editor, like the material nodes. Just make a lot of surfacing a lot easier to do.
I can get photorealistic surfacing very quickly by just adjusting a very few amount of settings. So just with a few settings, I've got photorealistic glass, photorealistic water, photorealistic metal.
The whole rendering engine is just, improved vastly. Much better anti-aliasing, motion blur, depth of field, being able to actually focus on objects in layout without having to, do a lot of test renders and guessing. And the whole radiosity system is a lot faster. I'm actually able to do test renders using radiosity and a whole bunch of features which I couldn't even use in production just a couple of years ago. I don't think there's any other software that has the new camera tools that it's got, which make matching live plates a lot easier because you're getting the same lens distortions. I actually use the real lens system almost all the time when I'm doing test renders now. I throw in a Canon camera and pull the lens up I'm familiar with, and I get matches for what I'm working with.
It handles massive amounts of data a lot better than 8.5 did, so that was very useful on another project where we had to deal with massive object sequences.
I was working at Stan Winston for the movie Because of Winn-Dixie, and it was one of the biggest effect shots in the movie. And it was done by two people, myself and the compositor. And I was doing all the 3D elements. And I had some of the XSI people looking at me and said, "What, you're doing the surfacing and the animation and particles?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm doing the whole shot. Why?" And I find out later on that one person does this little element, then they move on to the next element. And it was just nice being able to do the whole shot.
I will not go back to 8.5. That's the short version. It'd be like, I don't know, it'd be like knocking a wheel off my car or something and trying to get around. It just wouldn't work for me.
I like where it's going. It's actually, taking off really nicely. I have a hard time going back to older versions now, which I still have to do once in a while, but it's a painful process now. I just get too used to some of the new tools. Like, the new anti-aliasing modes where I can actually do depth of field right in camera. And I don't really have to worry about how much time it's going to add to it, because it really doesn't add a lot unless you're doing something severe. But it's just a nice experience with it.
To check out more of the great features of LightWave and download your free 30-day trial edition, visit lightwave3d.com.